Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Today we're playing something that's called the Overlord Engine 3. It's a PvE mode for Flesh and Blood, and there's a special variant of the boss, a draconic final boss, Salgoroth, Ascended Tyrant, and there's a bounty on his head. If we manage to defeat this boss today, there's going to be a special role in Discord, and as far as I could see, no one has claimed that role yet. So what we're trying to do today is cheese our way through the mechanics. The boss has a lot of cool cards and board wipes and stuff. So we're going to play around that by just playing Kano and hoping for a turn 0, turn 1 or turn 2 combo kill with Wildfire. There's no ban list yet, so this is going to be our tactic for this game. So the game works as following. There are barricades which block physical damage, which we don't care for. We just do arcane damage and try to do as much arcane damage as possible in the first few turns. And let's see what happens. So the boss has an intellect of 3, so he draws 3 cards, has 35 life, which is represented by the dice here. Has a special weapon, a wildfire attack, and he's currently in aggressive stance, so we'll try to block with the barricades first, which doesn't matter to us because we just do arcane damage. And he will pitch once per instance of arcane damage. When playing solo, we can choose a sidekick, and I chose Ignis the Sage because she just does more arcane damage. So we're trying to do as much arcane damage as possible. The boss will draw cards at the end of each turn with an intellect of 3, so the hand gets bigger and bigger as he progresses if we can't strip him of cards. So we will start using the once per turn action, deal 4 arcane damage to the boss. The boss tries to prevent that. The barrier has Arcane Barrier 1. If there were cultists in the game, they would have Ward 2, but only if the boss does not control any barrier. So he prevents 1 of this arcane damage. So we have 3 damage here. Goes to 2. And we'll just check out what's on the top for Kano. We'll keep the Ether Arc for our action as it creates a Ponder token. We pitch for the Kano activation. See what's on the top. It's an energy potion. Awesome. We play that. And a prognosticate for the Kano activation. Ooh, Ether Flare. Interesting. So do we want to banish that to go for a bit of damage? Or should we just keep what we have here? Let's look at another card. No, we won't have, we have an energy potion. No, we won't have anything to pitch for that. So let's just play the Ether Flare and buff it with the Crucible of Ether Weave, so that would leave us with some pitch value. If I could find the dice, this would be even better. I'm well prepared. I'm a professional, if you can't see that yet. So we have 1 pitch left with an Ether Flare for 4. He prevents 2 with a yellow. So there's 2 damage with the Ether Flare, so the next instant of damage will do 2 additional damage. So we play the Overlord, the Ether Well, to deal 2 arcane damage plus 2 with our action point, which makes 4. He buries, he can only Arcane Barrier 1. Very nice. So we had actually 3 damage, and we'll tick him down there. So the Overflow, the Ether will comes for 5. He can prevent 1 with the floating one, and he will be dealt 4 damage. Well, that's not too shabby. We've dealt more than 2 damage, so we gain more resources. So we'll Arcano activate again, because why not? And we have an open the floodgates, which we can't cast with more than 1 damage, so we'll just leave it at the top. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Let's see what happens. We will draw 4 cards, and the boss will draw an additional 3 cards. So there's a lot of pain incoming for us. So what happens now is the boss will activate an action card and pitch for it with a random card. All hope is lost, which costs 4. So he will pitch 1, and he has already pitched 4, blue and the red. Each opponent discards half the hand, rounded down, and we destroy all auras with Spectra and all allies. This means we have to destroy Ignis the Sage, if I'm correct. She also has an action when she's dead, so for 3 we can activate her again and make her and revive her. And whenever I attack, I deal 1 arcane damage to the boss, which will not happen. I will not attack. So I'm going to discard, pop the bubble here, and then open the floodgates. I'm not too happy about that. The boss doesn't have go again, so this ends his turn. All hope is not lost. The turn has just ended. And what the boss does then, he puts a random card in Arsenal. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 6. This card will be put in Arsenal, and I guess the other one goes to the bottom of the pitch stack again. Perhaps it goes to the discard. It shouldn't matter too much for this game. And at the end of the turn, the boss draws 3 cards again. He's allowed to use the card in the arsenal if he has no more cards in hand. Depending on his stance, in aggressive stance, he uses the arsenal to pitch if there are no more cards in hand. So what will we do now? We will just reactivate Ignis the Sage. It's just flip Ignis will go again, so we have flipped her. And then use the once per turn action to deal, it has go again I guess. Yes, it has go again. So we deal 4 arcane damage to the boss. He tries to pitch. It's a red one, so he arcane barriers 1 and is dealt 3 damage. And what we do now is we just pass the turn with an Overflow the Ether Well in Arsenal. We're in for a lot of pain now because the boss draws 3 cards as we draw 4. Then again we are Arcano, so perhaps there are some instant shenanigans that we can afford. 2 potions and a lesson in lava. Well, not too bad. Let's see what happens. The boss casts Fire Breath. So the attack gains +X, banish the top card of the resource deck. And X will be a shitload of damage. Sorry for swearing here. So it's 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, and he will get +1 for pitching a red card, and each time he pitches a red card to activate a weapon, so it's 1, 2, 3, and it's 4, 6, 8, so we are at 11 damage. 11, and when pitching for, maybe used if there are no more cards in hand, so he pitches even more. 11, as this doesn't have go again. 11, 12, 13, that's an attack for 13. And he is recomposed, so we shuffle both the action and resources deck into the graveyard. 13, so should we take 13 and should we try to pop off here with the potion of Déjà Vu? and the energy potion at the top. Why not? Before we take 13, we're going to try to kill the boss with an Overlord Ether Well. So, and one energy potion. So let's do a Kano activation for one, another Kano activation for the second one, and 1, 2, this is our arsenal card, and a third Kano activation. So if we have 3 Kano activations pending. What we're going to do now is we're going to crack the Ragamuffins head, draw a card, and then put a card from our hand on the top or the bottom of our deck. So we put the Lesson in Lava at the top. Let one of the Kano activations resolve and play and see the Lesson in Lava. We're going to play the Lesson in Lava with the Ether Spindle and deal 3 damage to the opposing hero. He has no cards in hand, so he can't pitch for anything. And we're going to deal 3. Search, of course, for a Wildfire. Or do we search for a Wildfire? A Wildfire should deal 4, and then we would have 7 plus 4, 11, so 18. This could actually be sufficient, but we lack some resources. So let's see what happens. I'm sure I could win this now, but I'm not the best Kano. So perhaps I should have searched for something else. Perhaps for an Overlord Ether Well. Do we need the Wildfire? If we crack the energy potion and deal 3, we'll get another 2. Oh, we could search for a tome. Oh, it's much better to search for a tome. So we are going to search for... Oh, we have 2 Kano activations pending. What will a tome do? Yeah, let's just search for a tome. Could we win with Wildfire here? Okay, no, it's so hard to play. If you don't have the reps, we're going to deal 6. No, we can't deal 6. Can deal 5. Plus the Overflow, the Ether Well with 8, 13, 16. This will not be sufficient. If we aren't lucky with our top deck and the second Kano activation, oh, we should have just pitched this another way. But what can you do? So we're going to put the Tome of the Aetherwind on top. Let this Kano activation resolve. Play the Tome of Aetherwind for 2 cards. And with an Ether Arc and another Lesson in Lava. So that's pretty good. We should now be able to crack the Storm Striders for another lesson. just check out the next card on the top. If we go for the lesson in lava with the storm striders, we can then use the activation to guarantee the next hit, but this will not be sufficient damage with the blazing ether yet. So we still need something like the wildfire. We could also search for another tome, but we'll not draw another lesson in lava most probably. And we still have the Overlord, the ether well, which we can't play then anymore if we use the storm striders. So let's check out the next card on the top. It's a destructive Ether Tide, which can be played as an instant now. And now we will go for the wildfire with the storm striders. Crack the energy potion for 2 resources. Deal 3. And 1, 2, 3. And search for something that costs 2 and is pretty good. What is pretty good and costs 2? No, we could search for an ether flare. Or do we have enough for a wildfire? No, we don't. And the ether flare won't be any use, so we are searching for another tome. I think I've completely dropped the combo here, so we just have to get lucky and combine. So what you're seeing is actually not a demonstration of PvE, but just being one of the worst Kanos ever. But what can I do? So we'll let this Kano activation resolve. Play the Tome of Aetherwind, draw 2 cards, prognosticate and open the floodgates. If this deals more than 1 damage. We've played this with the energy potion, so we still have the prognosticate in hand and the open the floodgates. So we're checking out the next card on the top. And it's an ether wildfire. So perhaps we can pull this around. So if we play this for 4 and pump it by 1, it will become 5 and then another 6. So the dragon will still not be dead. Oh, we've already used the regular offense head. But why not? We're going to pitch for the Ether Wildfire. Deal 5. And then play the Destructive Ether Tide, which will deal 5 plus 1 is 6. So we're going to do 11 to the boss. That's not too bad. So the bad news is we're most probably going to die next turn. And now we are taking 13 damage. So we go down to 2. But On the bright side, this doesn't have go again, so it's the end of the turn for the boss. He draws 3. We're going to clean up our mess here. And then we are trying to, no, we don't need to stack anything, it's almost over. So we draw, so in our turn we don't have any cards. What are we going to do in our turn? Are we trying to, we use the once per turn action. The boss pitches for 1 for the barricade, so 3 damage is dealt. And oh, why not? We're trying to use the Overlord, the Ether Well from the arsenal for the action point to deal 3 damage. And he pitches for 1 and is dealt 2. So the boss goes down to 3. And at the end of our turn, he draws 3 cards. And we draw 4. And now we're going to get lucky, hopefully. So what does the boss do? He spreads fire. That's bad. We can't block that. So he pitches a red card to play that. It's red, so we can get an out and block this with Ignis the Sage. She's able to block once per turn if the attack is not super focused. And she'll do that. So she will die. This attack has resolved. The next one is Tyrant's Reign. And when this enters the arena, we activate Wildfire. This is, whenever Wildfire hits, put the flame counter on this. Okay, and Wildfire activates with X, and X is 1, destroy all cultists. Then this attack gains +1 for every cultist destroyed and +1 for every 2 pitched to it. So he pitches everything into the attack, which is very convenient for us. So he pitches 2. So the attack gets +1 and +2 +3 as this has been pitched. So this is 5 damage. So either we can do anything about this or we are going to die. So we pitch an Overlord Ether Well, activate Kano, and see an Ether Flare. That looks promising. We activate Kano and see Against the Ages. So we play Ether Flare, deal 3 damage, and actually we should have won against the boss now. But I'm going to upload this video and we're going to see that I played something wrong that I will need to try again. But for today, this was the game. It seems a bit cheesy that you can activate Kano when the boss has no life again. But let's see if this was according to the rules and if we can claim the trophy.